So today we are going to be problem solving with some formulas. Okay. So in terms of there's two parts to it. There's just work with formulas, and then there's word problems with formulas. Okay. So for instance, just the formula work is you could be given some kind of a formula. And it could be an actual formula, like it could be the perimeter of a rectangle, P equals 2L plus 2W. And we're going to ask you to solve it for a particular part. So for instance, in this case, we have PQ equals M plus N divided by 3. And I want you to solve this for M. So, first thing that we would probably do, or the first thing that I would do, is I would multiply both sides by 3. Because that's going to get rid of that fraction. Then, I would subtract N. And once you have the variable that you're asking for, all by its lonesomeness on either side, you be done. Questions, comments, concerns, clarification? Okay. You solve that second equation for R. Then I would subtract 8p. Then I would divide by -8. I get 5p plus 4t minus 6c all over positive 8. Wait, what? No, I got positive 8. I changed all the signs on top, and then it became positive and much cleaner. Yep. Yep.
Like, wow.
Because I multiplied by -1 on top and bottom. And -1 divided by -1 is +1, so it's legal.
Right, but you could have left it.
I could have, but then it wouldn't be clean and pretty. See, I like things to be pretty like me.
Right. But then there's still a negative 6 feet.
That's okay.
So it's not like you eliminated all the negatives.
Correct. And I couldn't eliminate all the negatives. But I eliminated as many as I could. And it's cleaner. Pretty. Like me. Pretty. Are you saying I'm not as pretty as I think I am?
No.
That's what it sounds like.
Sure, that's pretty. Positive, positive.
Good. Five eighths P plus 1/2 T minus 3/4 C. That's okay.
How's that possible?
Because you just divide every term by 8. That's okay. But again, this is cleaner. Yeah. Yep. That's why it's 5/8 P minus 1/2. Because 4/8 reduces 1/2.
But how can you divide it if it has a T on the top?
Because you're just dividing the number. So what they said was,
They're not like terms at all. How can you divide it?
because everything's you're just you could simplify it to like this because you're dividing everything on top by 8, so you're going to divide each term by 8. Okay, but you don't have to because again, cleaner, pretty. So we're going to jump into some word problems. And word problems are fine, or formula problems. Okay? So remember that when we're dealing with a word problem, we first have to read the problem, figure out what we need to find, figure out what we can use. Okay? Then step number 2 says we need to reread the problem and make an equation or use a formula. And if we're going to use a formula, we should write down the formula. It will probably be given to you in the problem. It will say, use this formula. Or in the problem, it will say, Bernoulli's formula is such and such and such and such. How would that apply to this scenario? Kind of thing. Then we're going to solve it, and then we're going to say, does my answer make sense within the problem? And I'm even going to go so far as to add we should also label our answer. Okay? So that we know what it is and what units that we're talking about. Okay? And all of that is stuff we've talked about earlier. Okay? So, first formula. We're going to start out nice and easy. First formula. Distance equals rate times time. How fast you are traveling in a car times the amount of time you spend in that car tells you how far you've gone in that car. Makes sense. So we're saying find the missing variable, which in this case is R. So we would start with D equals R times T. I know my D is 300. I don't know what my R is, so I'm going to leave it as R. I know my T is 4. We need to solve for R. What would we do? I divide both sides by 4. 300 divided by 4, 75. What was that? Well, you tell me. It's a rate, right? So that means it's a speed. And our labels, our units are miles per hour, right? So our answer here would be 75 miles per hour. Does that answer make sense? If you're traveling down the road at 75 miles per hour for 4 hours, you're going to go 300 miles. Not really. Because you get outside, like, really it's only 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. A little bit, but not too bad. Still within the applicable, like, probably not going to get pulled over. Right? The law of nine. What? Yep.
Speeds with it, whatever they do,
Yep.
you do.
Yep.
So if they break, you break.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
What they choose you for.
Yeah. Try that. Or 290. So Matt Kenseth, which is Mrs. Lindsmeyer's all-time favorite driver, only because he's from Wisconsin. She roots for the hometown people. Raced 600 miles at Charlotte, North Carolina in 3.5 hours. If distance equals rate times time, what was his average speed? So we're going to start with distance equals rate times time. He raced 600 miles. We don't know what his R was, but we know that it was in 3.5 hours. So when we do the division, I just want to get them all because we don't have them all. But hopefully, it ends up being 171.42857. Okay. Now, this begs the question. In this particular case, it did not tell us what we're rounding to. So, what do you think? 100? Okay. So 2 decimal places?
Well, if it's like on that's one thing.
Right. But I would personally, I would say at least 2. 3 would even be even better for me on this one. Now, on a test or a quiz, I will tell you how many to round to. Okay. But it's kind of one of those like, let's just kind of. I left it like this to let you guys see what you guys came up with. And what's our label? Miles per hour. Yep.
Is it actually realistic to go that fast?
Yep.
That's on.
For a race car, yeah.
Is that like in circles or like?
That's in
NASCAR
circles.
is all
Yep.
left turns.
Right past turn left.
170 miles per hour.
For 3.5 hours.
What's the
That's actually what they do. 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like
This is
non-stop.
so this is the longest race in NASCAR. 600 miles. And it's usually Memorial Day weekend. And my wife actually went to it, that's why I used this one as an example. But my wife's brother used to live in Charlotte. So she went down there and they went to that's just that's
Average.
average. Yeah. Yeah.
That's more difficult.
All right, try this one. I'm gonna let you simmer on this one for a while. All right, what do we know? Okay, how long is the wall? 16 feet. So from end to end, the wall here is 16 feet. Okay. What else do we know? We do know that. We know the width of each picture.
This is just more than the space between the shapes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what else do we know? Okay. Okay. I understand. Not the scale. Okay. So that's what we know for a fact, right? Okay. What else do we, or what are we looking for? Space between the pictures. Okay. What do we want to call that? W. Okay. Or what did you label it? S. Okay. Or X or any letter, right? But that space, this space right here, is the same. Right? Right? Okay. We have two more gaps to fill. What are they? Okay, but how wide are they? What does the problem say that they should be? Let's say 6. I don't see or in there. 6 inches more, right? Okay. So what are those outside gaps then? No, not to be determined. We know. I know exactly what they should be. It's W plus 6, right?
W plus 0.5.
Why W plus 0.5? Because all of our other measurements are in feet. 6 inches needs to be in feet. So yes, if we had converted everything to inches, yes, then it would be W plus 6. Okay? But these both need to be W plus 0.5 or plus 1/2. Okay? Do we have all of our gaps filled on our wall? No. We have a little height. What? We don't care about height. Okay? We're just talking width. Okay? So, what is my equation then?
16 equals W plus 1/2.
Plus
1.
plus 2 plus W plus plus
W plus 1/2.
right? Why not? But that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the entire width of my wall. That's all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps that I have in my wall. And the whole width is 16. Okay? Now let's simplify. How many W's do I have? 1/2 plus 2. 1/2 plus 2. 2.5 plus 3. 5.5 plus 4. 9.5 plus 1/2. 10. Okay? Now what? Subtract 10. Divide by 4. So that means that gap is 1.5 feet, correct? Or 18 inches. Okay? I'm going to scroll back up here now. So that's this green gap that we found. Is that the only answer? Why not? Okay. So that would be 4. Okay. So our answer is a little more or I shouldn't say complicated. Our answer is a little longer because we have to describe how we should position the pictures. Okay? So we have to make some kind of a description. So 1.5 and 2 are not acceptable answers here. 18 and 24 are not acceptable answers here. Your description? Yes.
1.5 away from each other and 2 away from the wall.
Okay. So the pictures should have a 1.5 foot space between them. And the two feet from each side. I hearken back to introducing somebody in speech class. Okay, you could introduce them, right? And you could just say their name. Okay, or you could really introduce them and go into more detail. Okay, more detail is always